morning, Miss Fricker's class. It's Eric and Cheryl Pahoon and Mrs. Pahoon. We're here at Frickermchenrey in Maryland. Most of you know where this is where the Star Spangled Banner was originated from. And we're going to talk a little bit about the fort. We're going to do one half here, then we're going to go inside, and we're going to talk some more. So where you're sitting at right now are the ramparts. When you hear about the Star Spangled Banner and the ramparts we watch, that's what you're looking at. Now this was during the Battle of 1812, sometimes called the Second War of Independence. The battle actually occurred on September 13, 1814. Now you're going to go into a lot about the war later on. But the Battle of 1812, and it's windy today, the Battle of 1812 lasted 2.5 years. Is that better? Alright. Now in front of you, you're going to see a bridge, and that bridge is 4 miles out. Now that's important because the American guns would only reach 1.5 miles out. So if it's 1.5 miles out, all the British ships stayed 2 miles out, so we couldn't hit them. So the morning of the 13th, they began a 25-hour bombardment of Fort McHenry, and on that boat was Francis Scott Key. What's important about Francis Scott Key is one of the myths is that he was a captive on there, and he actually wasn't a captive. He was more of a guest. He went there to get the release of one of the prisoners there, and once they realized he found out about the plans, they had to keep him during the bombardment. Now he said the bombardment was 25 hours, and they bombarded the fort with 200-pound cannonballs, and those cannonballs would burst in the air and send shrapnel all the way. So if you can look at some of these cannons, these are different than the ones that were there, but they're definitely cannons that were used sometime during the wars. Now they fired 1,700 bombs at Fort McHenry over the 25 hours, and it wasn't until the morning, with the dawn, don't fall down, Mrs. Pahoon.
I will.
It wasn't until the dawn that they realized that the fort was still here. Now when you read the Star Spangled Banner, it was written as a poem. It wasn't done till music later on. And in a minute we're going to go inside and talk more about that. But so Francis Scott Key, when he got up in the morning, there was a mist